Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm seeing 10 o'clock on my computer here, and because we have such a short time together, let's just get started and jump right in. So our webinar today is about communicating with your students using Brightspace. So I'm sure as you know, we're transitioning back from in-person learning to remote learning, that ways to communicate and still engage your students are probably top of mind. So we're going to be looking at different ways that you can accomplish that through this webinar this morning. Before we get started, I just want to introduce myself. So my name is April Tanner, and I'm a customer success specialist here at D2L. Before I started at D2L, I spent about 7 years in the education field as both an elementary and secondary teacher in Ontario, where I taught history and English. And then before that, I actually worked as an education director for a local tutoring company for quite a few years as well. I just want to say that I know that this has been an extremely stressful and challenging time for you as teachers. As a former educator myself, and now as a mom who has kids starting to go through the education system, um, you know, I can just imagine how frustrating this has been for you. And I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your break to join us today to just, figure out how to engage your students more. And, I know that my son in particular is just benefiting so much from having teachers who, despite the challenges are pushing through and really, just being the shining stars that you guys are. So thank you so much. Now just to continue, at the bottom of your screen there, you'll see that I have added my Twitter handle at April C. Tanner. If you have Twitter and want to give me a follow, that would be awesome. I like to post different tips and tricks about Brightspace, any news that's exciting that's coming up, and then any webinars that we have going on as well. I post about that. So that might be how you found out about our webinar series this week. And then just at the bottom as well, you'll notice that there is an email address set up here. So if you have any questions about our webinar series or anything that you're learning today, feel free to send us an email at k12ont@d2l.com. We have a great support team who is monitoring that email, and we'll get back to you as soon as they can with the answers that you need. Moving on, we have some housekeeping items. So again, just reiterating, if you have any questions, you can feel free to email our k12ont@d2l.com and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you can also contact your Brightspace administrator. If you are in Ontario, that would be your TELT contact. And if you are wondering who that is, reach out to us and we can definitely help you figure out who to contact for that. You may notice that the Q&A and chat pods are disabled. Because we have such a short time together today, I just want to be able to focus and show you exactly how to use these different tools within Brightspace. And if you do have questions, you can join us at 2:30 this afternoon to ask those questions in our office hours. And we will, me and a few colleagues will be happy to work out those kinks for you and show you and demo for you, how to accomplish what you're looking to do. And then finally, the webinar recordings and slide decks will be on the education webinar site. So this is the website that you would have logged on to register for this webinar today. And so this recording and this slide deck, as well as all the other recordings from today and the webinars from yesterday, will be available. So the slides will be up there, so you'll be able to click into all of the links that we have available for you. Moving right along, our agenda for this webinar. The first thing we'll look at is understanding some terms, and then we'll jump into a demo where I will show you how to use Brightspace tools to communicate and engage with your students. So we'll look at the home page, specifically the banner, announcements and activity feed, And then we'll look at the class list, and I'll show you how you can utilize the email and instant messaging features in there to communicate with your students. Finally, I will share some resources with you that you can take away to really just hone your skills and help you create the best Brightspace course for your students that you can. So understanding some terms. So our company is D2L. You may hear other people throwing that term around along with the term Brightspace. So our product is Brightspace, much like the company Apple, whose product is the iPhone or the MacBook or your Apple Watch. Our company is D2L and our product is Brightspace. Another thing I want to bring to your attention today is our Brightspace community. So if you haven't checked it out already, it's a phenomenal community where we have other educators and D2Lers who are D2L staff collaborating and sharing different workflows and interesting tips and tricks of what they are currently doing in Brightspace. And there's also areas where you can post questions and other educators can answer. Our D2L employees will answer. And so if you're ever stuck on something, Brightspace community would be the first place to check to see if you can find the answer there before reaching out to us. So with that, these are the learning objectives for our webinar today. So after the demo, you'll be able to communicate with your students via homepage. So the banner, announcements, and activity feed, and then also the class list, so the email and instant messaging. Before we get into the demo, I just wanted to, give you some visuals and some application to how you can utilize Brightspace similarly to what you would use in your in-person classroom. So what I like to look at is, in your face-to-face classroom, you would use your agenda, and in Brightspace, that same that same function would be the activity feed. Similarly, your bulletin boards that you would have up in class would transition into the announcements tool here in Brightspace. Like I said, activity feed you can think of as the new agenda. So in your agenda, you would write quick short messages, share class news, record homework, and daily tasks. You would communicate with families at home and share real-time communication and reminders with your students and their parent guardians. An activity feed, you can do all of those things. Plus, you can also schedule your posts in advance to post. So, for example, Monday is back to school. So if you're working through your Brightspace course shell today, for example, you can create a post today that is going to be released and post in your homepage on Monday for your students to see when they come back to school. It also allows students to comment on your posts. You can share content quickly and share with families who are using Brightspace for parents. So that would be dependent on your board or district if they have Brightspace for parents up and running for you. If you don't think that you have access to that, definitely contact your Brightspace administrator in Ontario. That would be your TELT, and you can find out through them if that's something that they can get set up and running for you. And then finally, you can also create assignments and activity feed, which is just an easy little tool there in order to bypass having to click into the assignments tool. Here's just a visual of what your agenda would typically look like, and then what the activity feed tool looks like in Brightspace. And then announcements, like I mentioned, is the new bulletin board. So on your bulletin boards, you would create informative displays, use visuals to support learning, share information with your students. You could pull it down and then put it back up to use again next year. And you can also format it to suit your students' learning and interests. In announcements, you can do all of those things. Plus, you can also create multimedia posts. So for example, you can insert YouTube and other media into your posts. You can use Video Note to connect with your students. So you can record videos of yourself talking to your students just so that they get that FaceTime with you. And that embeds directly into the post as well. You can add embedded videos and websites. You can share course content with your students for easy access. You can also schedule the release of announcements similar to the activity feed. You can also use release conditions. So for example, you would have students maybe complete a quiz before they would then be able to see the announcement that you have created. So again, just some visuals here of what bulletin board will look like and then what the announcements tool looks like in Brightspace. So with that, I'm going to pull up the a Brightspace course shell here just to demo for you how you can use these different tools to communicate with your students. So just give me 1 second here and I will bring this up. Alrighty. So you should see here my Brightspace course shell. I'm just going to double check that you can. Perfect. Um, so within my Brightspace course shell, you might notice a few things that look a little bit differently from yours. And I'll just go over those quickly with you right now. The first thing here is your nav bar. So for me, I personally like the icon nav bar. I think that it's more eye-catching and engaging for students, even for high school students. If you are wondering how you can get the icons to be up here with the links to the tools, I can show you how to do that. So you're going to go up here to these 3 dots and to edit this nav bar. And this page here is going to populate. And you'll see here there's a button called Add Links that you can click on. And here you can scroll through all of the tools available in Brightspace. So for example, if you're finding that maybe you and your students are using the awards tool frequently or the calendar tool, but you're finding you have to go into course admin and you just want it up there in the nav bar to make it easier to find. You just have to select the tool that you want and you just add it. There you'll see that we now have the calendar tool in the nav bar. And if you want to delete any of them, maybe you're finding that you're not using one as much as that would warrant it being in the nav bar, you just have to click the X and it will delete it from the nav bar for you. You can also drag and drop to rearrange where the tool shows up in the nav bar. And then this little button here, you just have to click it or unclick it to get the icons attached to your nav bar. So if you don't have it enabled, all you'll see is just the word to link to for the tools, or you can enable it and that's where you would get the icons here to show up in your nav bar. So we'll just save and close. If you're looking at your nav bar here and you're noticing that you don't have this edit button here, it is for some school boards, they do disable this tool for their staff. So if that's the case for you and you'd like to edit yours, again, you can contact your Brightspace admin, or in Ontario, that would be your TELC contact, and they'll be able to help you sort out your nav bar if possible. So the first thing we're going to look at here is the banner. So you'll see here that I have a nice picture in the background, and Happy New Year, April, as we're entering the new year here, and April being my name, so it's personalized to me. And I'll show you how you can do that personalization. So like we talked about in our webinar yesterday, you can go here to change the image. You can upload an image from your computer, or you can also use one of the images from our database that's available for you there as well. But today we're going to focus on customizing the banner text. So when you first go into your Brightspace course shell for the first time, it automatically is just set to your course name, but you can customize it. So some teachers like to just leave the course name to make it simple and easy. And others like to use this as a way to personalize the course for their students. And so one way that I've seen teachers use this space is to celebrate different things with their students. So maybe a student's birthday, or for example, the new year, if there's a holiday, maybe the end of the school year. You can change it as often as you'd like. So for example, if you have a student's birthday coming up, you say happy birthday, Jake, and you can save it like that. And so when everyone logs in, they'll see that today is Jake's birthday. So just a way, again, to personalize it and engage students a bit further. Another thing that you can do with your banner is to use something that we call replace strings. So by using replace strings, it just personalizes for each person that logs in to Brightspace. So for example, we could put welcome and then replace strings are, so you're going to use a curly bracket. And the most popular one that we use is first name and then another curly bracket. And when we save that, you'll see that it actually populates my name in here where we had the replace string. So whenever a student logs into their account, they'll see their name. So just that added bit of personalization as soon as they log in, just to engage students a little bit more. The next thing we're going to look at is our announcements. And I'll just scroll through here so you can see a few different posts that, that have been made here in the announcements. So one here is happy birthday. And again, this is like a bulletin board that you would see in your classroom. So these would be things that are eye-catching for students, that are more robust, and have different things to offer that coincide with what the student is learning at school as well. So here, we're talking about birthdays. There's a link that's embedded here from YouTube to watch the Happy Birthday song. And then we have here an example. So maybe during Thanksgiving with your elementary students, you're talking about gratitude and being thankful. And then we have the teacher here who is has recorded a video for their class using video note, just to be more personable with them and give them that face time as they explain what gratitude means and explains this assignment, this discussion post that has been assigned by the teacher. And then again, coming down here, complementary colors to go with the art class, and a video with today's activity. These are all different things that you can do in announcements, and I'll show you here how you can create one. So if you click the chevron here beside announcements, you'll see there's a few options. You're going to select new announcement. Another way that you can get into announcements is through your nav bar. So here in communications, I do have a link to announcements, and I can open that up and select new announcement. Now, when we get in here, you'll see there's a few different things to look at. And the first big one here is our HTML editor. So with our HTML editor, we have a bunch of options to really create and make our post stand out and engage our students. And the biggest thing that I love here about the HTML editor is the insert stuff button. So if you click on the insert stuff button here, there's a bunch of things that you can embed right into your post. So one of them is some files from your computer. If you have any files already saved to your course, you can upload them here if you'd like. You can add your video notes. This is where you can record a video of yourself and embed it right into the post. And then you have YouTube, where you can search for videos, insert link. You can enter an embed code, and then any Google files that you have as well can be uploaded here. So let's get on with making our post here. So I'm going to make a post as if this is a high school English class, and we'll, we'll say that they're learning about Shakespeare, and they're going to be getting into reading a play. And before we get into the play, I just want to preface the play with learning more about who Shakespeare was and his writing. So we can create a message here to insert into our HTML editor. So hey class, we're going to be diving into the world of Shakespeare this week, but you may be wondering, who is Shakespeare? Take some time to find out about the guy we will be learning about. And then we'll go to our insert stuff button here, and we will insert a YouTube video. So here you can insert the link to a YouTube video that you already have in mind, or you can just search like you would typically search in YouTube, and it brings up all the YouTube videos available. So we're going to select this one here, The Life and Times of William Shakespeare. And once you select it, you'll click Next. And you'll see here, it will give you the link to the YouTube video. You can change, you can see the width and the height here, and then you'll see a preview of what that video will look like embedded in your announcement. So we'll insert it, and there you'll see it pop up. And then we'll also add, for fun, just a little picture. So right here, we can insert image. And here you can upload a file from your computer. If you already have a file in your Brightspace course, you can upload it here as well. Or if you have a URL or shared files, you can do all these things. So I'm going to choose one that we already have and add that in. And then you'll see when you add in a photo that it gives you the option to create alternative text. And the reason for this is that if you have a student who's using a screen reader, if the image is important to your lesson, you can put in the alternative text so that their screen reader can explain to them the importance of the image. If your image is just decorative and really has no it doesn't really hold any meat, I guess you could say, to the actual lesson itself, you can just select this image as decorative, and then the screen reader will know just to pass by that image. So I'll just put in here some alternative text, the photos of a D2L moose wearing an orange shirt. And we'll click OK. And you'll see here our D2L moose has appeared. And if we put our mouse over the moose and hover, we can see what the alternative text is. As we scroll down here, you'll see that we have some options for availability. So we can click right now if we want our post to be posted right now. Or like I mentioned before, we can schedule this post to be released at a different time. So we can schedule it anytime, but let's choose Monday. And we'll choose maybe just before class starts on Monday, so that when students log in, it'll be there for them to see. And you can also select an end date. So if it's a post that you want to be removed from your announcement feed, you can select the date that you would like it to be removed. Then you can also attach a file. You can record audio or record video to attach to the post as well. And so this would be something perhaps you have some homework or another document that you want the student to download to their computer. You could attach that here so that it's not embedded into the post, so that they can have a copy of it as well. You can also attach release conditions to it. And so this would be something where maybe you have the students would need to complete a quiz first before they're able to see the announcement that has maybe some next steps in the announcement. So I'm just going to actually change our posting date to right now so that we can see it populate in our announcements. And you'll see that now we have a list that's joined. Our post has joined a list of all of our other announcements that we've created. And if we go back to our home page here, you can see that our post is now live and can be viewed by our students. The next thing we're going to look at is the activity feed. And as we scroll through here, I'll just remind you that the activity feed is pretty much, it's the hub for community communication. So students, parents, guardians can come on here to Brightspace and see what is happening, what homework or what events are coming up within your class. It's a place where you can put reminders. So for example, maybe there's a leaf collection project that needs to be submitted by Tuesday. You can post activities. You can direct students to a lesson or a document that you've created. And it's a place where you can share information quickly. So for example, in your next class meeting, you've decided that there's going to be a color theme. So you're asking everybody to wear their favorite color. That would just be an example of something that you would typically post in their agenda that now you're able to post here in the activity feed. The one thing that I do want to point out to you here is that one of the nice things is that you can pin one of your posts to the top here, so that it doesn't matter how many posts you post afterwards. You can pin this one to the top, and it will always be at the top. So you'll see here that that one of our teachers have created a pinned post where they essentially lay out all of the important meetings that are going to be taking place, and things that the students and students and parents can look forward to throughout the school year. And so the teacher has pinned this to the top so that whenever the parent or student logs in, this important information is always top of mind. I'll show you how you can pin a post to the top. So if we scroll down here, we can select this ellipsis here that's attached to every single post that you make here in Activity Feed. And you'll see that you have a couple options. So you're going to select Pin Post to Top. And you'll see now that when this repopulates, that post is now at the top with the other pinned post. So you can pin as many posts as you'd like, and they'll just all populate one after the other at the top here. And then if you decide after a while that the post doesn't need to be pinned any longer, you can either select the push pin here, or you can go back to the ellipsis and select unpin post. And if you scroll down, the post would be gone. So let's just create an easy post here. So you have the option here to create a message, or you can also create an assignment right here in Activity Feed. So you don't have to go all the way in to your assignments tab. You can just create it right here. But for today, let's just create a message. And you'll see that this looks a little bit different than the HTML editor that we used in announcements. Because this is like an agenda, we're not looking to really create, a very robust and eye-catching display. This is more of a just sharing of information. It's supposed to be to the point so that students and parents know exactly what is happening. I'm just going to create a post here. Okay, this post says, "Happy Friday, families. Please show us how we're able to get how you were able to get some exercise this weekend by sharing a photo, drawing, or story on Monday. Look forward to seeing what you get up to." So one of the neat things about Activity Feed is that you have the option of allowing students to make comments on your posts. So in this scenario, the teacher is asking their students to share a photo, a drawing, or a story on Monday about how they got exercise over the weekend. So on Monday, when students come back to virtual class, they'll log in and they can make comments on this post about what they got up to this weekend and what kind of exercise they did. Now, if you are making a post where maybe it's just, here's a link to our meeting later today, you can click this here, and then that way students aren't able to comment on the post. And that way, you're not getting random questions right on that post where maybe you're less likely to see it. A student would have to contact you directly. So in this case, we want to allow students to comment. And then I'll just draw your eyes here to attach. And so this is where you can upload a file from your computer. If you have an existing activity already created in Brightspace, so maybe an assignment or a checklist or a discussion setup, you can link it there so that students can just click right into that assignment. You can also upload any files that you have from Google Drive or OneDrive right here. It will link to your Google account. Um, and then you can also create Google Meet or MS Teams meetings here. And we went over that yesterday in one of the webinars. So if you're interested, definitely go to the educator webinar page and you'll be able to watch that recording to see how to do that. So again, over here, you have the option of posting right now, or you can pick a date and time to post later, and then it will be released whenever you'd like it. For our purposes, let's post right now. And then you'll see that our new post has populated here for our student. So that is the communication for the home page. And the last thing we're going to look at today is the different tools we have available within Class List. When we come into Class List here, you'll see we have our list of students right here. And there's two different options here for email. So we have our email class list and then just the email button here. And the difference here is that when we go to email class list, this is going to allow us to send an email to all of the students who are enrolled in our class. So we'll populate all of their email addresses here, and then you can create an email and it will send it from the email that is attached to your Brightspace account, so likely your board email. You can upload files or record video or audio, and then you can send that to all of your students at once. The other option here is to select one student, and then you're able just to email that one student from within Brightspace. So if we select Sammy student here, we'll go to email, and then you'll see that that student's email has populated, and we can create that email for that student and send it in. The other thing that is available here is our instant messaging. So this, you might want to use this tool if you're looking to communicate maybe with a group of students who are working on a group project and you just want to check in. It's more instantaneous than checking an email. And so that might be a scenario where you'd want to use that. So for example, we can select Senai and Cooper and Anya here, and then we'll select instant message. And then you'll see that we can send that instant message to Cooper, Senai, and Anya right here. So you would just type in your message and send, and then when the students respond, you would actually get a notification here in your instant messages, and they would all populate. That brings us to the end of our demo today. So I'm just going to move back over here to my PowerPoint. So the learning objectives that we went over today. So today you learned how to communicate with your students via the home page, so the banner, announcements, and activity feed, and then through class lists, so the email and instant messaging features. Some resources here that you can check out. Like I said, these slides will be available for you on the webinar education or the educator webinar website. And so you can log in there. It was the same website that you used to register for this webinar. You can go in there and you'll be able to click into all of these resources. And there is some great resources here. So the Brightspace tutorials are awesome, just short little how-tos on how to use different tools within Brightspace, and then some COVID specific resources for you as well. And if you're new to Brightspace, you're just getting started, this quick start guide is awesome. It's just the basic how-tos on how to get your course up and running, especially since you have such limited time before classes start back next week. And then just a reminder that we do have a few more webinars today. The Brightspace portfolio webinar is starting after this one at 10:30. And then at 1 o'clock, we have our assessments and feedback webinar. And at 1:30, an awesome creating a Bitmoji classroom webinar. So definitely don't miss out on those ones. And if you have any questions, please do join us at our office hours at 2:30 today, where myself and a few of my colleagues will be available to answer questions and walk you through how to use Brightspace in the different ways that you are wanting to. That brings us to the end of our webinar today. I'm so happy that you joined us. If I don't see you again today, I hope that you have a wonderful New Year's, and I wish you all the best as you go back to school on Monday. Thanks for joining me, everyone.